All right, let's go ahead and let's run it and test it, and let's see if this works here. So the object will be to kind of collect, and look at that. That actually looks kind of neat. I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, there we go. You kind of move it around. Now, right now, for example, you're kind of moving things, and that could actually be its own game where you kind of have to move things, kind of move it to a certain area. But essentially, we haven't set up any kind of logic that would allow us to, kind of deal with the physics and the collisions. So let's go and let's add in that functionality here. So we now have the rotation. And remember, in a couple tutorials ago, I talked about physics rotation and just kind of object rotation. So physics rotation, again, will be that if you can see that, as I'm moving this here, right? If I were to disallow the physics rotation, these would be rotating. But as I rotate these, kind of quote unquote hard, it does work. I actually do like this red and black, although red isn't in color right now, but that's okay. So let's take a look at how we can go and add in the contact here. So we'll say function did begin contact. Now, if you don't see this did begin contact, what will happen is that you probably didn't add in if I scroll up here, the physics contact delegate. So you want to make sure that you add in that physics contact delegate before you move on here. Let's add in a function here, and we'll say this is player collectible logic, and we're going to add in a contact A, SK sprite node, comma, contact B, SK sprite node. And what this is going to do is that we're going to take in the contacts from the functions, and we're going to pass it into a function to do some extra work. So let's say let first body is equal to contact dot body A, and then let second body is equal to contact dot body B. So there's only two bodies within contact, so we always take the first body and the second body, and then we need to add in an if statement. We're going to say if, and I'm just going to add in the curly brackets and the brackets here. We'll say first body dot category bitmask is equal to physics category dot player, and we'll add in another bracket here. We'll say second body dot category bitmask is equal to, it has to be double equals, by the way, because it is an if statement. So we'll say category bitmask is equal to physics category dot collectible. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in an or, and I'm going to copy everything but this first bracket here. Okay. And so you can see that we have our first body, and we're going to switch collectible with player and player with collectible like that. Okay. So what this is saying is that either the player collides with the collectible or the collectible collides with the player. We're using the category bitmask because that is the number that we are using. Within the curly brackets, we need to call this player collectible. We need to pass in the first body and the second body. So we're going to say first body.node as sk sprite node, and it's going to be second body.node as sk sprite node. Okay, and so what that's going to do is that's going to pass in the two objects here. Now, we can go and we can compare these two contacts. So we'll say if contact A dot name or contact A dot name is double equal to, and we can actually say, that's kind of neat here. So we can say that this is collectible dot name, or we can just say that this is the collectible name. We want to check for the collectible because we're going to be deleting the collectible. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to go to collectible, or we're going to say contact A dot remove from parent. Okay, so if the contact A is collectible name, then we're going to remove it from parent. Now what we can do is we can actually copy and paste this, and we'll say collectible B, or contact B is equal to collectible name. All we're going to do is we're going to remove contact B. Okay, so remember, either the collectible collides with the player or the player collides with the collectible, and whichever one that case may be, we're going to find the collectible, and it doesn't hurt to go and copy and paste the actual name like that there. Okay, and the other thing we can do is we can go and say score is equal to score plus 1, and then we'll add in a function called update score, and here we're going to go to lbl score dot text is equal to score update score. All right, so what that will do is that every time you hit the collectible, it will update the score and it will remove any items here. So let's take a look at that. So we can go and we can add that in here. So we'll say, yeah, so look at that. You can see that, you know, yeah, that actually looks pretty good. So you can see there's a bunch there. And what the way this works is that it you have to really plan your attacks. So, you know, plan up the angles and whatnot. All right. So that's actually kind of a cool little mechanic here, but yeah, essentially it does work. This concludes the tutorial.